To Israel, a kind of ground zero where this latest war between Israel and some hardline Arabs has mushroomed over this past year. Israel right now a truly divided nation. Sure, people are honoring and remembering the victims today, but there's also anger that the war rages on without end, and anger that Israelis are still being held hostage. Outside of Prime Minister Netanyahu's home today, families of those ostensibly being kept captive and alive gathered today and accused the Prime Minister of putting his political survival ahead of their loved ones' lives. Lots to unpack here today. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger in Tel Aviv for us, attending some of today's rather poignant ceremonies. Josh?
Yeah, Bill, what we attended was quite poignant, but the subtext of this political division in this country really did underline every anniversary event that was planned for today. The government planned its own events, the Netanyahu government, and many, if not most, of the hostage families actually boycotted those events and said they would attend other events. And so we went to one of them down in the south by the Nova Music Festival. It was the single largest loss of life that Israel faced on October 7th. And we found devastated family members still trying to process the incomprehensible. 1 year to the minute after Israel's darkest day, the sun rose over the dusty field where thousands of young people had come to dance and where hundreds were slaughtered as a wave of terror washed over them, their faces smiling back at devastated loved ones from posts that dot the desert sand.
The healing process is not something that you can finish in one day. There's no magic that can heal that wound.
The Nova Music Festival started off magically, but with the dawn came the mass slaughter of nearly 400 people, and dozens carted away back to Gaza. Today, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu lit candles in honor of the fallen after taking his country down a bloody and violent path of war on multiple fronts. The IDF stepping up attacks just today against Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza, where the Hamas-run health authorities say 42,000 people have been killed in a year. And with nearly 100 hostages still in captivity, the crisis has left deep divisions in Israeli society. Angry families today protesting outside the Prime Minister's home in Jerusalem.
We have an attacks coming from all different sides, and Ofer and 100 other hostages are still there. And I think that's part of the disbelief.
It's the disbelief that was so palpable this morning in the desert. The grief punctuated by the blasts of Israeli artillery firing into Gaza just 3 miles away.
There's so much oneness here.
Eric Goldstein is CEO of New York-based UJA Federation and led a delegation of New Yorkers to join in the memorial. His agency bankrolling the Nova community's desperate need for mental health services and other support, because 1 year later, there is no end to the pain.
They were hunted down. I mean, there's literally killing fields we're sitting on. And then you look at the beauty of this place. It's hard stuff.
A very emotional day, to be sure. Now, adding to everybody's anxiety, of course, is what will happen with Iran. Israel did vow to retaliate against Iran's barrage of missiles, nearly 200 of them, a little less than a week ago. But when and how they will retaliate, still unclear. We're live in Tel Aviv tonight. Josh Einiger, Channel 7, Eyewitness News. Bill?
All fingers crossed, Josh. Thanks. While we have you, Josh, we want to quickly show our viewers what happened just moments after you wrapped up your story on Eyewitness News an hour ago. Wow, you can hear that rumble, Josh. You can see the people behind you leaving the square. So based on what you now know, what exactly happened? And you were very cool there, I might add.
So, well, there wasn't a siren here, and you don't actually necessarily take cover right away if there's no siren. You sort of have a chance to see what's happening. What we heard was that rumble, and what it turned out to be was the Iron Dome activating on a missile launch by Hezbollah from Lebanon, which did make it kind of into the vicinity north of here, in the vicinity of Tel Aviv. The Iron Dome knocked 2 of them out of the sky, but the 3 others were on a trajectory where they would do no harm, and so they were allowed to land because they try to conserve their defenses. There was a siren that sounded in an area slightly to the north of here, and that was an area where people were told to take cover. We did take cover, and you saw the people who scattered were in an area called Hostage Square, a lot of young kids who were just gathering to kind of discuss the events of the day and sing songs and hang out, and now they're gone. And nothing really happened. And this is sort of a normal, not that normal of an occurrence, but it's something people are accustomed to. And of course, after last Tuesday's attack by Iran, people are very, very sensitive, and they will scatter for the smallest thing. And this was not really that small.
And interesting, they call it the square. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? All right, Josh, thank you very much. We'll see you on Eyewitness News at 11, of course, yes, and also on Eyewitness News at 6 in the next half hour.
And at 6.
All right,
yep.
Thank you, Josh.